Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here. It's late. It's about, let's see here, 8:40 Friday night. This is actually a pretty late review because for the past few days I've been fighting a cold and it got away from me, and I got the comics. Yes, I did get the comics yesterday and I read them, but today. I was just pretty worn out, again, fighting a cold, and anyways, but I feel better now, and I'm going to do the review this week, so, you know, I'll, if I ever do get sick, and it's, like, very serious, like I can't talk, or, I can still do the review, even if I'm sick, but I will probably be blowing my nose a lot, or coughing, Still, I can do the review, but if it's anything too serious, I'll put up a notification saying no review this week because I'm sick. But I'm still fine now. So let's do this. Okay, starting with Marvel, some comic that I'm really gonna be glad this story arc is over soon. Fantastic Four 602. If you saw so far, let's see here. What happens in this issue? Well. The Annihilation Wave is starting to. The Kree Armada is starting to overtake the Annihilation Wave, which is led by Johnny Storm. So Sue has Reed summon Galactus to help them out, and Galactus asks Reed what the meaning of all of this is, and Reed says that you said that I would need to summon you in case something bad, and Galactus says that this isn't it. This is some sort of preamble, but I will help you anyway. And then basically Galactus agrees to help them to deal with the Kree, and then all of a sudden, shortly after Galactus appears, four beings known as the Celestials appear as well. Gotta say, this is just getting a little ridiculous. It seems like the more we continue this story arc, the more characters they're going to be involved in. It seems a little far-fetched. This. I'm still not very impressed by Fantastic Four. Even with the addition of Galactus and Reed being able to summon him, I'm still really not impressed with the story. Look, if you were disappointed by Johnny Storm's death and you missed his resurrection 600, I would just recommend for the trade paperback to come out, or what the hell, buy the single issue, either one, but you really don't need to read this story arc. I'm getting through it because I've waited for it. This is something that Jonathan Hickman was building up to, so I just want to read it, get it over with. Hopefully, there's only going to be 2 more parts of it left. If I'm not impressed by then I'm just going to I'm definitely going to drop Fantastic Four and not buy FF until someone else is on the title or something else intrigues me with it. Okay, but speaking of stuff that I did, but here's a series. My next comic is a series that I did drop. It's from Marvel. I did drop it where Ed Brubaker left it, but now they got a new writer on it and someone who I think is perfect for this title. Secret Avengers number 21.1, written by Rick Remender. Okay, so first of all, what happens in the story is basically the only characters featured in this are Captain America and Hawkeye. The whole thing is pretty much just a test for Hawkeye, so Cap can be sure that he's made the right call in, his decision to let Hawkeye lead the Secret Avengers. And they go on a mission to rescue an American senator from this sort of other country, but they discover that the guy they're supposed to rescue is actually a life model duplicate, and it was really a trap, and there's this new group of Masters of Evil that show up, and they kidnap Cap, and they're revealed to be working for the Shadow Council, led by Max Fury, who put the new Masters of Evil together. The new Masters of Evil does consist of Ghoul, Whiplash, and Princess Python. Also, when they do try to then they say that they're going to try to hold Cap for ransom by the American government. Hawkeye comes in, saves Cap, and they get out. I would say that this is I was really impressed by this issue. The the thing that I really liked about it was the dialogue between Cap and Hawkeye when they're sort of talking about when Steve's sort of psychoanalyzing Hawkeye to be sure he's a perfect fit for a leader and everything. It was very entertaining to read that. I mean, the dialogue was great. The setup was great. This is a really great issue. I mean, if you have not read if you're like me and you stopped reading Secret Avengers after Ed Brubaker left, or say sometime during Warren Ellis's run on it, well, definitely pick this up because this will sort of pick you up. This is your perfect jumping on point. This is the good thing about Marvel Point Ones. If you haven't read a series for a while, you can pick this up, get a good idea about where it's going, and start reading it again. It's very great. And I think Rick Remender is a great fit for this title because he has done a good job on Uncanny X-Force and Venom and those things. And those two series and Secret Avengers have a single thing in common, and that's covert superheroes that work behind the scenes, covert, secret. I mean, they sort of have the same theme and setting, which I think is great for Rick Remender, because, I mean, if they were going to give him if they were planning on giving Rick Remender an Avengers title, I think they made the right decision with Secret Avengers. If you really love his work on Uncanny X-Force and Venom, I would definitely recommend this series. If you haven't missed, if you were turned off, if you stopped reading Secret Avengers at some point, pick this up, because this will get you right back in it, because now I'm really excited to be picking this on going up. Moving right along. Time for DC. And my first DC book is Green Lantern New Guardians. Basically, the New Guardians, minus Red Lantern Bleeze, have discovered the huge solar system vessel known as the Orrery, and it's basically it looks like a giant model of a solar system that you would see in a science classroom. And there's like a little dome representing planets, and the team basically splits up into 3 different teams of 2, and they go into each dome, and apparently each dome contains a world that I think was a world that was probably believed to be dead, but somehow it's still existent there. Because Arkilo and St. Walker, they go through a dome and they discover Starfire's home planet, Tamaran. And Monk, the Indigo Lantern, and Fatality discover the planet Okara in another globe. And Kyle and Glomulus, they discover... I don't think I've seen this world before, but they go to this dome. They find a world that apparently Lorfleeze visited, and on that world, Lorfleeze is considered the embodiment of all evil. And now, back to the whole concept of the different domes and stuff. Apparently, all the subjects in the domes, each worship this sort of being known as the Archangel Invictus. That's his name, Invictus. And now, apparently, that's the new big threat to the entire universe, some being known as Invictus. And that's kind of where it leaves off. I mean, they did a great job. They really did a great job building up on what this space station is and sort of who's controlling it and stuff. Oh, I should point out that Invictus does live in the sort of sun center of the system. Anyways, I think this is still a good series. It's worth checking out. Anything else I want to say? No, not really. I mean, it's worth checking it out. Invictus does look like a very interesting supervillain. He does seem to be the type that could rule over the different worlds with mind control or something. Or maybe, possibly Invictus saved the worlds before they were destroyed, and now in exchange they have to worship him. That's probably how this works. Alright, moving right along. Superman number 5. Basically what happens from last issue, continuing from last issue, when everyone arrives to where the huge fire and ice cyclone is, where Superman was, apparently it looks like Superman absorbed the cyclones into himself, and now apparently, and also the people who were affected by the 3 entities, the ones that were possessed and stuff, were found unconscious. Superman turns them over to the medical squad. Then Superman flies off and he says he has to save the city. And this is what happens now, what Superman does. He basically goes power mad. He declares himself the ultimate he pretty much declares himself the ultimate savior, and he's going after anything that could be considered a threat to Metropolis, and he's eliminating it. From mutated animals such as the gorilla Titano. Superman fans should know. Some of them should know who Titano is, but if you don't, you can probably look it up on Wikipedia. Anyways, Superman's going around. He's pretty much destroying anything that could be considered a threat to Metropolis. And here's something else. When Superman finds a bus full of prisoners, he starts to use the same powers as the ice entity, and he even has sort of like an ice crystallized form when he's using the powers. And then while Superman's going on his little crusade, I guess, Lois is trying to contact people who could help him, and one of the people she does think of is Clark. And she's trying to call Clark's number. She's like, "Come on, Clark, pick up, please, Clark." And then she's like, yells Clark's name, and suddenly we cut out into space, and we find the real, actual Superman floating in space, covered in the little spider things that we saw in issue number 4. And he's just in the middle of space, and he wakes up as soon as he hears Lois's name, because, Lois say his name because, he has super hearing and stuff. And so, well, basically what we're getting here is now the entities somehow combined themselves and took on Superman's form. So they're posing as Superman while trying to keep Metropolis safe. And so now the real Superman has to come back and kick their ass. That's the idea here. Now that I say it out loud, it's not really an impressive sort of theory about how this is going to end. Still, it is interesting how those three entities could come together and just take on Superman's form. That's something that really isn't explained in this, though. Still, like most of the issues since the beginning written by Perez, there's a ton of dialogue going on, whether that's the caption boxes or the actual dialogue between the characters. It's just a lot of talking in between the action. This is really just barely average. I mean, it's not great at all. I mean, I'm not saying George Perez is doing a crappy job writing. I'm just saying it's okay, but I'm actually looking forward to about 2 issues now when we get Dan Jurgens back on the title. That's all I'm saying. For now, though, if you haven't given Superman a chance, I would just wait until issue 7, and that would be the perfect time to jump right back in. Anyways, okay, continue on. Flash, number 5, the conclusion to the first story arc. The scientist who's been helping Flash out, Dr. Elias, I don't know his last name. Anyways, he decides he was captured by the Manuel clones, and now he's agreed to help Manuel stabilize his clone. So he hooks Manuel up to this device, and it basically acts as some sort of signal that will scan Manuel's DNA and then emit a signal that will correct the flaw in all the clones so that they won't die in a few days and stuff. Then meanwhile for Flash, he has his hands full. First, he was able to bring in 2 ships full of supplies for Central City, then stop a riot at Iron Heights and save Iris West. Then he heads over to Elias's lab and tries to help, and thinks something bad's going wrong, but then Elias tells him, "Wait, Flash, don't do anything. All the clones want to do is live. Let's just go through with this." But the device starts to hurt Manuel, and then it's about to explode. And apparently the device runs on electromagnetic energies. So when it's about to explode, Flash basically tries to keep the blast contained in a vortex and then send it into Earth's atmosphere. And he's able to do so, thus saving Central City. However, after the device explodes, all the Manuel clones die. Manuel's fine, though, but he is actually very angry at Flash because all the clones died, and now he was starting to think of them like family. So he was pretty much pissed at Flash, and and he was able to get away. And later we cut to Manuel making new clones out of his dismembered fingers. Alright, he's cutting his fingers. Basically, this is how Manuel's powers work. He has like a Wolverine healing factor, except when he cuts off a limb, another one of him grows from the limb. And now he's pretty much making more clones, and they all refer to themselves now, Manuel included, as Mob Rule. Alright, and then also we learned that, and then in sort of an epilogue here, we learned that Dr. Elias again talks to Flash about his powers. He says that apparently Flash didn't send the blast into the atmosphere. He actually sent it through time, and that was the electromagnetic pulse blast that shut down all the power in Central City a few issues back. And even more important, every time Flash gets closer to approaching the speed of light, he causes time rifts, which are sending objects through time and space, through different points in time and space, and also it's slowly destroying time and space itself. So every time Flash uses his powers up to the speed of light, he's slowly destroying all life as we know it. And the only way Dr. Elias tells Flash they can stop this is if they destroy the Speed Force, which means Barry Allen's gonna have to destroy the source of his powers. Well, I gotta admit, this was a nice ending. I mean, sure it was a little weird character shift for Manuel to automatically go back to caring about his clones, but I guess in the end he felt sorry for them. And the thing that we're learning about Barry's powers now. First, we learned that he can also think. Also, the way he thinks now by using the Speed Force, by using his brain to tap into the Speed Force, was impressive. Now we're learning that his powers are also slowly destroying time and space. Gotta admit, Francis Manapul, you are good. That is the sign of a good storyteller right there. Leaving you wanting more, because I want to know more about what Barry's going to do about the Speed Force. I would definitely recommend picking up this Flash series now, because also the artwork is great too. Just saying, should probably throw that out there, but the artwork is great. Okay, moving right along. Teen Titans number 5. It's basically Teen Titans versus Superboy, and Superboy is able to beat them all. That's really what happens, really. Superboy is able to defeat all of them because because I think one reason is that they're just coming together as a team. They have no real strategy together. They've just basically saw Wonder Girl being attacked and they just decide, okay, we gotta do something. So they have no real team effort right there. But the only Titan that was able to hold his own against Superboy was Red Robin. Let's face it, he's Tim Drake. Of course he was able to hold himself in a fight with Superboy. Not with Kryptonite or anything, no. But Superboy again had the upper hand by using his tactile telekinesis to disable Red Robin's suit. And also during the fight, though, Superboy, through some words of Red Robin and Solstice, they convince him that, Nowhere's just using him. Eventually, everyone's going to get used, and does he really think that Superboy... And does Superboy really think that he'll earn his freedom from Nowhere? Because he's basically just a lab experiment to them. So Superboy has now finally seen the light. Okay, not completely, though. He did beat them up and then just leave them there. But in the end, Superboy decides, okay, I'm done being Nowhere's lapdog. I'm coming for Templar, and I want some damn answers. That's... Okay, he doesn't say damn, but... Come on. But he finally realizes that he's being used. He needs to do something about this. He's going to Nowhere. He's going to get some... He's going to go and beat the living crap out of him. I'm glad. That's probably the only good thing about this. Really, the only good thing about this issue. And yeah, he also, and Superboy he doesn't even take Wonder Girl back to Nowhere. He leaves her there because right after the fight, he thinks to himself that none of these guys deserve this. No one does. I'm going to go Nowhere. I'm going to beat them. That's what he's doing now. So, Superboy's finally seeing part of the light, not completely. He still has to I guess we'll all be caught up what's going on with Superboy maybe in his own series, and then also I think the whole thing with Nowhere might be continuing in Titans. I really have no idea, but where it's going to go from here. I think Superboy is going to go back to Nowhere, but they're going to capture him, and then the other Titans are going to go and try to rescue him. That's how I see it. That's my prediction. But still, Teen Titans is a good title. I mean, I can still read it. It's not one of the things in the relaunch that really pissed me off and made me go, okay, I'm swearing off this book. No, I'm still reading it because I still want to know how are they going to work together. That's the main question now. We've seen the Titans in battle. They haven't worked as a team in the battle, though. That's the thing with the Titans. They haven't worked at all as a team. There's been no real team strategy. They were just going after Superboy one after the other, one after the other. They haven't worked together. They need to do that. So, that will probably happen in the next few issues, and maybe they'll get Superboy out of nowhere. Or maybe not. Maybe Superboy will break out, then he'll kind of ask to join them. Good luck with that. Moving on. Justice League number 5. Okay, I can pretty much... The only people who really talk in this issue are, once again, Batman and Green Lantern. But let me get to the story first. Darkseid fires his Omega beams at Flash and Superman, and basically they split off, and the beams split off too after them. Flash is able to vibrate through Parademon, and that zaps the Parademon. But then for Superman, unfortunately, one of the beams hit him, and instead of what the Omega beams were normally supposed to do, Superman just gets knocked out. Then another Parademon comes by, swoops him up, and takes him over to the tower Darkseid had summoned in Metropolis Bay. And then Green Lantern goes and tries to fight Darkseid by himself, but Darkseid beats him quickly and breaks his arm, then knocks him out. But by the time Green Lantern wakes up, Batman talks to him, and Batman and GL is kind of like trying to go after Darkseid by himself, but Batman calms him down, tells him that he needs to go work with the others and work as a team. And the reason Batman explains the reason he's talking to Hal is because he thinks they're very similar, because they're the only two normal people here in the entire. They're really the only two Batman and Green Lantern are the only two normal people who don't have any real powers. I mean, sure, Green Lantern has the power ring, but it's still sort of considered equipment, just as Batman's belt and tools are. And so, and this is something I really liked. Batman revealed his secret identity to Green Lantern. He told him his name is Bruce Wayne. And spoiler alert, this is Green Lantern's reaction. Who the hell is Bruce Wayne? Is he supposed to be... seriously, isn't... I mean, I get this is 5 years ago, but still, isn't Bruce Wayne supposed to, be well known or something in the world? Come on. Anyways, Batman tells him the thing about his parents, and he explains he's been fighting crime for years, and that now Green Lantern needs to calm down and get the others together and go after Darkseid as one, while he goes and gets Superman so that they can all attack at once. So basically, Batman surrenders himself to a Parademon, and as Batman's being flown away, Green Lantern goes and finds the others. He rallies them together, and they get ready to go after Darkseid. Meanwhile, Batman gets close enough to the tower that he knocks out the Parademon, discovers another wormhole which leads straight to Apocalypse. End of issue. Once again, this issue highlights another great conversation between Batman and Green Lantern. I'm not being sarcastic though. It's a great conversation between the two, but it's just that we're not getting enough interaction from the Justice League as a whole. I mean, most of the big conversations have occurred between Batman and Green Lantern. They've only occurred between two characters. We haven't really seen the League talk as one central group. It's just been two characters with one another. That's all. I mean, maybe by the time they defeat Darkseid and try to get their whole details worked out about their whole team, they'll all speak at once, have enough equal talk time, but the only real people who talk in this issue are Batman and Green Lantern, and I would still recommend this if you're a Batman or Green Lantern fan, because it does sort of make something different about their relationship. Sort of highlights a focal point of their relationship that I think Jeff Johns did sort of bring up in when he relaunched during his second arc on Green Lantern, when Green Lantern went to Gotham City to see Batman, about how similar they are. And in a way they are, because both Hal and Bruce are motivated by loss. Hal was motivated to become a pilot by the loss of his father, and Batman was motivated to fight crime because of the loss of his parents. It's really they're really almost the same type of people, if you think about it. But if you're a Green Lantern or Batman fan, you'll love this. If not, but otherwise, it's just basically those two talking and planning. Nothing really happens unless you want to see what Apocalypse looks like on the last page. But really, and also Superman being taken out by one Omega Beam. Come on. Okay, wait. Omega Beam's pretty powerful. Complaint retracted. Okay, last comic. Aquaman number 5. In this issue, Aquaman is a fish out of water. Quite literally, as he is lost in the middle of the desert. Oh God, that was a fish out of water. Right from Leno. Okay, anyways, Aquaman is lost in the desert. How did he get up there? Well, that's told in flashbacks. Apparently, late in the night, Aquaman got a call saying that they found some sort of Atlantean artifact attached to one of the cocoons from the Flesh. And wait, Flesh? No, I can't believe I forgot what those things are called. Anyways, Aquaman goes to the lab where they called him from, and he inspects the artifact, and he discovers that it came from the Atlantean ship that he used to help bring the cocoons of the people back. And when Aquaman examines it, he discovers that it's kind of like the black box of the ship, and that it's kind of from old Atlantis. But right when he gets in that explanation, suddenly the lab is attacked by a bunch of armed men with guns. They come in, they steal the artifact, they almost take away on their little jet, but Aquaman chases after them, jumps onto the jet, breaks in, fights them, and he discovers that apparently that their helmets are filled with water, which means that they're Atlantean. And so when he fights them, the ship's damaged and it crashes in the middle of the desert. And that's how Aquaman wound up in the desert. And while he's in the desert, he runs into a mirage of his father, telling him that it's really bad how Aquaman's back on this, trying to fit in as one of the humans by living on the surface and stuff, because he's not really one of them. And of course, Aquaman doesn't believe it because it's a mirage. And he sort of uses his whole, fish mind controlling signal to block out the mirage, and that leads him back to the wreckage of the ship where he finds the artifact. Because the artifact gives off some sort of high-pitched noise that I think it sort of reacts to his Atlantean powers. And Aquaman finds the artifact in one of the helmets, and when it's put near water, it shows a holographic message from some sort of Atlantean captain that says that they're fighting an enemy that threatens to sink the continent. And right when the guy's under attack, the message cuts off. Then Aquaman is found by the U.S. Navy, and they bring him back to the States. And when Aquaman gets back to the lighthouse, he finds his dog there, and also a note from Mara saying she went to town for dog food. Okay, well, gotta admit, this was a great opener. Now especially with Aquaman being in the desert, that was definitely funny and something that makes you wonder, okay, Aquaman's in the desert, how's he gonna get out of this one? But he was able to find some water. Granted, it was in the helmets of dead Atlanteans, but still, water floats your boat. No pun not intended. And now we get some sort of clue that sort of makes us think that Atlantis wasn't sunk by some natural phenomenon. It was actually attacked. Now that's very interesting. That's something I would like to know. Who attacked Atlantis? Why did they sink it? We'll find out soon. But for now, I think we're going to have an interlude. The teaser for the next issue said that it would feature Mara. So I think we'll have to wait till the issue after next issue, because we will get a little interlude with Mara. But hey, If you read Blackest Night, you know that Jeff Johns writes a great Mara. Okay, so that's my comic reviews for this week. For sort of a last-minute okay, time for a quick rundown. Aquaman number 5. Aquaman is trapped in the desert. It's still a great issue. This series is great. Thank you, Jeff Johns, for making Aquaman cool. Justice League number 5 mostly highlights a conversation between Green Lantern and Batman. If you're a fan of those two, pick it up. If you're looking for something with the team as a whole, wait till next issue. Teen Titans number 5. Superboy is still the most powerful teen hero among them. The Titans really need to start to work together as a team soon if they ever want to save the day. Flash number 5. Barry saves his friend, but now his friend's become a supervillain. Oh, and also he's destroying the space-time slowly destroying the space-time continuum. How's he gonna fix the Speed Force? Superman 5. Superman. For some, the entities have taken on the form of Superman, and now they're starting to police Metropolis. New Guardians, number 5. Basically, new supervillain. Looks interesting. Secret Avengers, number 21.1. If you love Rick Remender, and if you haven't read and if you always want to give Secret Avengers a try, this is your starting point. Fantastic Four, 502. Just end it already. Please, just end this. And that's my comic review for the week. Again, sorry if you can't understand me because of my cold. I'm still fighting it, but it's going down. I should feel better after this weekend, I think. But until then, I'll get plenty of rest. And I'll be back next week to give you another comic review back at 110%. Woo! Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.